Hey everyone. So this unit we're going to be discussing the Holocaust, and the things that I want to cover about the Holocaust are a very important part of history. It's a very serious part of history, and it's also a very emotional part of history because it's very real. It's something that you guys are really going to have to dig deep into, do a lot of soul searching about, and really connect with, because this isn't something that should be taken lightly, and this is stuff that really did happen. And this is a term that some of you may be familiar with, but others of you may not be, and that is completely okay. I'm going to start off the class by giving a brief introduction about what the Holocaust is. And the Holocaust was a mass murder of Jewish people by the German Nazis from around 1941 through 1945. And this was the execution of around 6 million Jewish people. So, and it wasn't only Jews, but it was the majority of Jews. There was also other groups of people that were persecuted, such as gypsies, and there were some Dutch people that tried to harbor and give Jewish people a safe haven, were also persecuted. And these people were taken to concentration camps, such as Auschwitz. It was a very, very difficult time for Jewish people. It was a very scary time. A lot of these people lost their entire family and lost their lives. It was very torturous. It was very scary. It was very unlivable circumstances that they had to go through and endure. So we're going to be covering some vocabulary for this unit. Several words we'll go over, but first I wanted to show you a clip. This is a presentation. It's about a 15-minute presentation, and I will show it, and I encourage you to take notes. So if you would please get out a blank piece of paper, that way you can write down as many notes as you would like to. I think that's the best way to really ensure that you jot down everything, because sometimes you forget little details. So go ahead and grab your pencil and piece of paper and jot down as many notes as you can about this presentation, and after which we will go over some vocabulary words. Now that we've watched the video presentation, I want to go over some vocabulary words with you guys. This is some very interesting vocabulary words, and the reason why I chose these is because it's words that you do hear, but not words you hear every day. And these are words that are important, especially dealing with this topic and this subject. So I'm going to go over these words with you, and as I say the words, I'm going to present them on the board, and you can write them down in your notebooks. That way you can have those to study at home. We will be testing on these words, so it's important that you remember these, and I would encourage you to make flashcards for these words also. So the first word we are going to be going over is victim. Victim. The definition for victim is a person harmed, injured, or killed as a result of a crime, accident, or other event or action. Victim. Victim is a person who is pretty much like a bystander, the person who gets the poo-poo end of the stick, so to speak. So they either are killed or hurt, or they're in the crossfires, in other words. So the next word is concentration camp. As you saw in the video, the two sisters that were sent to the place where they had all those tests done and they were used as guinea pigs were sent to concentration camps like Auschwitz and other different ones, which we will hear about while reading the Diary of Anne Frank, the different types of camps that there were for different groups of Jews. And a concentration camp is a place where large groups of people were imprisoned and forced to do hard labor and await mass execution. So while y'all are writing that down, I want to give you a little bit more information behind concentration camps. They were a place where the Jewish people were sent to die. And I know that's a very harsh, blunt definition, but it's true. And it's sad because these people knew what awaited them. And they just had to wait. They had to wait it out. You know, you either survived and you made it through, or you didn't. And there was no knowing what was going to happen. So it was very, very hard for them to go there and be in that. And I can't imagine the pain and just the scary aspects of a concentration camp. So the next vocabulary word we're going to be going over is Adolf Hitler, which they didn't really talk about much in the video we watched, but you will hear more and more about it. In the book that we're going to read, the Diary of Anne Frank, you will hear about it. You will also hear about many other people that were a part of this. But Adolf was a German political leader who led the Nazi Party. He was responsible for the death of over 6 million Jews. Can you imagine wearing that weight on your shoulders? You had to have been a pretty sick person to do that. So that is the definition for Adolf Hitler. The next definition we're going to go over is Jews. Jews were members of people that were of the religion of Judaism, whose origins trace through ancient Hebrew, and they were the Israel and the Abraham. They were the ascendants of the Abraham. If you've ever heard, if you go to church and you know a little bit about the Bible, Jews were God's chosen people. So you don't have to include that. You can. That might be a bonus question on the test or something. So put a little asterisk beside that if you want to try to get those extra bonus points. The Star of David. The Star of David is a 6-pointed figure consisting of 2 interlaced equilateral triangles used as a Jewish symbol for the Israeli symbol. This Jewish and the Israeli symbol. The Star of David had to be worn by the Jewish people, so they knew who the Jewish people were. So the Germans and the Nazis knew who the Jewish people were. This was before and after the Holocaust. So Nazis. The Nazis were members of the National Social German Workers' Party. They were extremely racist people. They were not the people that you would want to befriend. They were people of extreme power. They were very, very ugly people, very just military, very strict, very... If you weren't of if you didn't fit into their bubble, so to speak, you were not welcomed around them. The next word we're going to go over is hostage. Hostage is a person who is seized or held for the fulfillment of a condition. So this means if you were a hostage, you were held as a prisoner. You were held for a reason, whether that be for just held for ransom, or held as to be controlled, or poked and prodded, like the two girls that were in the video we watched. You were just a prisoner. That's what a hostage is. So the next word is gas chamber. I talked a little bit about this in the video, not a whole lot. We'll speak more about this the further we go into this unit. But a gas chamber was an airtight room that would be filled with chemical gases and poisonous gases that was a means of execution. This is how they died. It was for a group of people to go into, and that's where they took their last breaths. And it's very sad, but it's very true. You saw a little bit about that in the video. It's awful. But we'll read more about that in the book, because this goes into a little more detail about the gas chambers, and we'll go into more detail about it throughout the unit. In science, we're going to be discussing about how the different chemicals that were used throughout. We're going to be studying about that also. So the next term is dictatorship. This is something you hear about in different countries, especially in history, like in France. They went through a dictatorship, but a dictatorship is an absolute authority of any sphere of a dictator. So this means that they control every move you make. You have no freedom to do anything. You are controlled. You are a puppet on their strings. They are your dictator. You answer to them. That is the definition of a dictatorship. Genocide is a deliberate killing of a large group of people, especially those of a particular ethnic group or religion. So this is what the Holocaust was. It was a genocide, a mass genocide of over 6 million Jewish people. So a genocide is a very wide mass killing. That's what a genocide is. So those are our words. The next thing I would really like y'all to do, we're going to try to do as much writing as we can in this class. I'm going to be handing out a grammar rule chart. This is going to be kept in your folder at all times. It's not to be removed from your folder. This is for your aid. It is an extra help on class assignments. If we have group projects, if you have to write, you will have this grammar rule chart for your aid to help you along throughout this unit. It is not mandatory that you keep it. It's completely up to you. This is something that you can use for your benefit and your benefit only. But what I want us to do in the rest of this class period is to get out your journals and open to a clean page. And I want you to take 5 minutes and write about what you would do if you were the lady in the video that we watched. About how would you find it in your heart to forgive something so big that changed your entire life? How would you find it in your heart to forgive? And is there anything in your heart that you need to forgive? Not necessarily forget, but forgive. Forgiveness is a big thing. It's a very hard thing at times, but it's something that we should let go of. So take these 5 minutes to write a good paragraph or two about what you would do to forgive someone on such a mass scale of forgiveness. Like if someone was to take your family away from you, and it had been 20 so odd years, and you felt in your heart that you wanted to forgive that person, how would you go about doing that? And if you want to build on that, is there someone in your life that you would like to forgive? And if so, what are the ways that you could go about doing that? So take a few minutes, write on that, and then we're going to go into the reading of the Diary of Anne Frank. Okay, guys, now that y'all are done with your journals, put those away, and you can give those to me at the end of class. We are going to be doing journal grades. If you don't want me to read these, I won't. If you do want me to read them, then I have different stacks. You can put them in the to read and the not to read stack at the end of class. If you don't want me to read them, I would just simply skim through to make sure that you have done them. And these will be a participation grade. So we're going to be reading the Diary of Anne Frank. This is a very emotional book. This is a very big part of history. It's one that is very joyful and serious, but scary and sad. So it's a mixed emotion book, but it is it gives me hope, because you can find joy in the bad days, and that's just the epitome of this book. So we're going to popcorn read, and I'm going to pass out the books. So once I pass out the books, we'll go around the classroom starting at the beginning, and it may be several times you have to read. I want you guys to really get a chance to read. I know a lot of people don't like to social read. It's something you're going to have to kind of grow out of the fear of. I want everyone to build social skills in this class, as well as grammar and research skills. So you're going to have to kind of get out of your comfort zone and read. So we're going to start doing that, and until the rest of the class period's up, okay?